Workers' compensation claims cost insurance companies millions, if not billions of dollars every year, and those insurance companies hire private investigators every day to help mitigate those losses. If you're planning on getting into this lucrative part of the PI industry, you need to know how to catch those that are defrauding the system red-handed. In this video, I will be discussing how PIs conduct workers' comp surveillance, the techniques they use, and what they keep an eye out for while surveilling their subject. The PI's primary goal is simple. We are hired to see if the subject is being truthful or not about their injury claim. Like the claimant saying he can't lift over 5 pounds without excruciating pain, but then we see him carrying a 50-pound bag of dog food from his car up the front stairs and into his house, all while displaying no signs of injury, difficulty, or pain. Many times the subject is really hurt, but they may be exaggerating the injury. Maybe they can lift over 5 pounds, but when it gets to heavier stuff, then they are in a lot of pain, but they don't want to risk anything, or they just want some time off with pay, so they tell a little white lie. You need to keep this in mind. The evidence you gather while on surveillance could save your client tons of money. It could also cost the client tons of money, so you need to ensure you are gathering the evidence the client needs. You are doing it correctly, ethically, and legally. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. If you document activities that contradict the claimant's stated restrictions, this can be a huge win for your case, but you need to watch out for a few things. For example, if the subject claims they cannot stand for more than 5 minutes or walk more than a block, then you capture them on video walking a half mile to the local grocery store, walking back home, carrying a few big heavy bags of food. Well, you have significant evidence to present to your client. Or perhaps they claim they cannot sit for more than 5 minutes due to pain. Then you follow them driving a car for 2 hours. Well, that would be pretty good evidence too. Now, examples like these aren't just examples. They are from real cases that we have had, and this is why insurance companies spend significant money on these types of cases. Keep this one thing in mind while you're conducting workers' comp surveillance. You need to remember to never underestimate the subject. I hear this all the time. People tell me that they would know if they were being followed. They notice new cars in the neighborhood. They always check out who is where, and when they hear a vehicle pull up, a car door close, or when their doorbell cam notifies them of activity, they're looking out the window. The entire world today is much more aware of their surroundings, and this includes the subject of your investigation and their neighbors. When doorbell cams first came out, people used to just have them watching their front doors. Most people today, though, have them angled so they can watch the front door, the front sidewalk, and oftentimes the front curb too. So if anyone walks by, pulls up in front, or approaches the front door, they are notified instantly. Not to mention, many people have more than one camera watching the perimeter of their house. For instance, I have my front door cam, and then I have security cameras on all 4 sides of the house too. And no, I am not overly paranoid. I am just aware that bad people do bad things these days. And I am not the only one. I can walk down the street and I can see that well over half of the homes here have not only a front door camera of some kind, but they also have at least 1, if not 2, additional security cameras. We can thank porch pirates and other folks like that for the need for this additional security that we all have today. But criminal activity is not the only reason people are watching out for suspicious activity in their neighborhood. People involved in workers' comp cases, personal injury cases, marital matters, and other legal cases are being told by their attorneys what they need to watch for. So keeping all that in mind, a good surveillance investigator needs to know how to remain discreet, how to stay hidden, and how to go undetected. Here are some steps I always recommend to take when doing surveillance. Go out early in the morning. Most people are not up that early, so it is less likely to have someone take notice of you if you're pulling into the neighborhood at 5 o'clock in the morning. Know in advance where the good parking spots are. Don't just assume you'll find one right away. I always do a pre-surveillance recon on the subject residence a few days prior so I know what it will look like. And I conduct those drive-bys early in the morning or later in the evening, usually as I'm going to or finishing up another case. I do them during these hours so I know what it looks like when everybody is home. The scene will look completely different at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That is why I also do not rely on Google Maps, because those neighborhood photos are all taken in the middle of the day when everyone is at work and there are no cars parked on the streets. You also need to get in quickly, get parked quickly, get blacked out quickly, and get hunkered down and set up inside your car quickly. You do not want to be driving past your subject's house 3 or 4 or 5 times trying to find the perfect place to park. I use black foam core cutouts that fit my side windows perfectly to black out my car. I leave little cutouts in the corners so I can peek out, but if anyone tries to look in, they're just going to see darkness. Finding the right place to park, or should I say, not parking in the wrong place, is essential too. In the old days, way back when I first got started, it was very common for us to park under a shady tree, in front of a property line, or along a privacy fence. Don't get me wrong, these are great places to park, but they do have challenges. You see, those attorneys, they will tell their clients they need to keep an eye out for surveillance, and they will tell them how we operate, where we like to park, and what we like to do. And you need to keep that in mind when you choose where to park. Now, most cases will include multiple days of surveillance, so I always park in the same place every time I go out. This way, my car starts to become part of the norm of the neighborhood. And most cases come back multiple times over the course of time. So being parked in one spot one day, then 2 weeks later parked in an entirely different location will get you burned. While you're hunkered down, you also need to do everything you can to go unnoticed inside your car. People will be looking at or toward the new car on the street. So don't be sitting there with your phone, your tablet, your laptop powered on all that time with the lighting up the entire inside of your car. It is also a good idea to be in the back seat of your car, and I will oftentimes have a black flat curtain hanging in front and behind me with just a small opening to watch out and to obtain video through. But keep this in mind, with all those visual protective layers, it takes time to move them when it is time to go mobile. And seconds count, folks. So have a quick way to transition from that secured area in the back seat to the front driver's seat and take everything down so you are not driving with a window obstructed. I use pull cords I glue to the blackout so I can just grab the cord and pull it out of the window. I also use vehicle clothes hangers to drape black sheets over for curtains, as they are the easiest for me to take down quickly. But when the subject goes mobile, don't blow your cover by gunning it and getting right behind them right away. A suspicious person will be watching for any suspicious activity for the first few minutes when they leave. Getting a good tail without getting burned is part skill and part art, to be sure. It takes a lot of practice, a lot of OJT on the job training, and a little bit of luck to get it right. Then, when you start to think you got it right, you got it figured out, well, the game changes and you have to adapt in new ways. Mobile surveillance is when most surveillance investigators get burned, because most people who are watching for surveillance will do so more when they're driving. You need to be able to maintain your distance, but not let them get so far away that you lose them at a light, and make it all look natural at the same time. Remember this, in most cases, you're not going to get the money shot while driving. Don't be trying to videotape your subject while on mobile surveillance. This will not only make you more noticeable to your subject, and everyone else for that matter, it is also highly dangerous. The primary goal of the follow is to get to the next spot safely and get the video you need. You see, in the world of workers' comp surveillance, video is golden. It doesn't matter if every piece of video displays damning evidence. In fact, the vast majority of workers' comp cases, most of the video you will get will be boring, non-evidentiary to a point, and will depict your subject doing normal everyday things they're allowed to do. But this, too, is good information for your client. They are usually looking to see how the claimant displays themselves more than what damaging evidence they can find. Too often people think we, private investigators, only provide the good stuff, the damaging evidence, the money shot, if you will. But in reality, our job is to provide all of the evidence that presents itself to us while we are conducting the investigation. I have had clients in the past ask me to only film the good stuff, only report on things that will help their case, or, in other words, exaggerate or misrepresent the findings of the investigation. And needless to say, those clients quickly became non-clients for us. We, private investigators, are finders of the fact, not fictional story writers. That is probably the biggest lesson I could give you regarding doing workers' comp surveillance cases or any other types of investigations. Ethics, morals, and honesty matter, folks.